Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, basically, we'll be building a carousel component. As you can see in the UI, we have a carousel component where basically we have two buttons, previous and next button. We can swap through the different images as well as it has an automatic timeout. You can say it basically changes the images after some time which we give. I think it's here 3 seconds in this example, I guess. Anyways, so we'll be building that in this video. And if you'd like to check out other videos where you would like to see front-end machine coding interview questions, you can check out this whole playlist series as well. Other than that, I think we can get started now. So first, let me just walk you through the basic code. See, here we have the index.html, which it represents the carousel container. Let me just open debugger. So we have a carousel container here, and we are basically going to create our HTML markup using JavaScript. I think it becomes annoying somewhat now. Yeah, just open, keep it like this. We'll come back to it. Other than that, we have a carousel container and we have this index.js file module. This is the ASM module, which are using it here. And we are basically using importing carousel from limb.js. This is the thing which you're going to be creating. And this is the interface which we'll have. We'll need to pass a container, which is going to be used by our code. Basically, the user is going to pass a container as well as we're gonna get provided the data also where it's gonna have the images, and we can give a timeout. There's going to be a default timeout as well. The timeout is going to decide after how much interval does the image need to be changed, and we can again decide a direction also whether we want the images to be going from left to right or from right to left. Okay. By the way, just to let you know, if you're interested, if you would like to find images from Unsplash, okay, you need to just to all these images are taken from Unsplash itself. So if you are interested in taking any other images from Unsplash, just go to unsplash.com, check out whatever image you want, just open it, take this link, copy, paste. Here you need to come and write source dot, okay, and you need to remove the tags of the photos, enter. You'll be able to get the image. I don't know why it's not so simple like that, but anyway, you have to do this way if you would like to get images, and if you would like to have this carousel have more images if you're interested. Okay, but anyway, I think we can now get back to our code side. Okay, so we have a default config like how we have in other videos. So in this one, I'll be using function, just a function class. Sorry, instead of classes, I'll just be using function here. So let me write the function carousel. It's going to take config. Let me clone the config. Sorry about that. We're going to have the clone. We'll basically clone the config, and then we need to do the init stuff also in the same function itself. Object.keys config for each key default config key equal to config key. This you're gonna get the config object from the user, and we're gonna iterate over the keys, and then basically copy the keys from the user to the default config key. That's it. And then we need to create a couple of variables here itself. One will be what image elements, which will be required later on. Then we'll be requiring container, the carousel container. We need a global variable here. Okay. Let active image index. By default, I'm going to give it 0. Basically, by default, what image you would like to show when the user uh, carousel pops up. Let me show you the code logic first of all. See, as you can see here, there's an active class which is coming here and there if you see after a specific timeout. Whichever image has the active class, only that image gets displayed. And if I just increase the size, if you see the active image class has an opacity of 1. So by default, if I give an opacity 1, remove it, then no class has an image. That's why. no image has an opacity of 1. That's why nothing will be shown. But let me come back. Where is it? Uh, let me just come back. It becoming annoying now. Sorry. Yeah, I just need to be opacity 1. Okay. So that's what you have to do. Well, let me show you the styles also. Styles, you can check it later on. It's just some basic width and height I've done. The main thing is like, and some basic image management. The main logic is about the opacity itself. By default, it's going to be opacity 0 for all the images. As you can see, Carousel container images. But whichever has the image has the active class, only that image will be shown with an opacity of 1. Other than that, we'll have some buttons also. As you can see, these buttons. And these buttons are going to have some dataset value so that we'll be able to identify which button has been clicked by the user. And based on which button has been clicked, we'll be able to decide which image to show next. And that is going to be controlled using here active element index equal to 0. Okay. So I think now we can get started the code, I guess. So for the container, it's becoming on annoying. Let's just open this container, put it to a document, query selector, default config dot container. Okay. Well, instead of writing it here, we can have another function itself for it. Create carousel function, create carousel. We're gonna first get the container. If we don't get any container, then we need to return it. We would not like to execute the rest of the code. We come here again. Container is not there, then we have to return it, and then we need to basically based on the images which we get in a default config dot data dot for each src. I'm basically destructuring from each data because every data has only src property. So, and I'm going to create images out of it. ng element equal to document dot create. I'm going to give a source of this. And yeah, by the way, I'll be using fragment to avoid extra computations, to avoid extra component while interacting with DOM. Frag dot append. I'm going to basically append each of the images. After appending each of the images, I would like the first image to be active, like I showed you previously. So what I'll do is like frag for children active element index dot style. No, instead of style, it will be what class dot add active. So the first image is gonna have the class as active. Okay, and after that we need to create buttons also. So let me write the next button equal to for the button. What I'll do is like I'll have some values here itself because I'll be reusing it in a lot of places. So what I write is that value is equal to next will be what next. Previous is also going to be previous in lowercase. And for next button dot text content, I'll just give I'll just give this one. And for dataset attribute, next button dot dataset dot the value equal to values dot next, and next button is going to have also a class next button dot style dot class list. So this I'll just set attribute. I think I'm missing something. Yeah, sorry. Next class list dot add next. Okay, something similar for previous button. Control or command D. You can say in Windows and Mac. Previous button. For previous button, I need to get this values dot previous. In here also, I need to give values dot next. Values dot next. Okay, it's going to be values dot previous. If yes. Now we need to append it again. The fragment append child previous button, next button, container dot append child fragment. Okay, and the container is going to have an event listener of click to identify whenever the button is clicked. Let me write on to for the button. First, I'll just get the value of the button value. As you can see, this one I need to get it. So what I'll do is let button value equal to e dot target dataset dot value. If there is no button value, then I don't want to do the click operation. Hence, I'll just return. But if we have a button value, we need to check. Uh, First of all, let me write the offset. Now, let me do this here on itself. I'll come back to it later. So we need to write an offset here. Let offset equal to if the button value equals values dot next, then the offset would be 1, otherwise it's going to be -1. So offset is the thing is which is going to decide what is the going to be the current index. So that's why I'm using button value equal to values dot next. If it's a next value, then I would like the offset to be 1, otherwise -1. And I'm going to use this offset and add to the already existing active element index to decide which index the image should come. You might be thinking about the condition where it becomes -1 or it becomes more than the length of the images. We'll be handling that now. Now I need to basically create a function which is going to allow us to swap the images while taking the offset. So we need to write swap images offset function swap images offset. So before writing this function, let me do some things I might have missed out. So for the image elements, I need to write image elements dot not image and dot document dot query selector all. And here we just have images, so I'll just write image elements, and we'll use this image elements. And we'll first of all, before adding an active class to another image, we need to remove the active class from all the images. Okay. So hence I'll write image class elements dot for each image element dot class list dot remove active. Let me show it to you. What happens? Suppose if I come here and click on it, it has gone. Opacity has gone for this also active. All the images class have gotten their active class removed. Now we need to check. Suppose if active element index plus offset, if it's greater than equal to default config dot data dot length, then basically if we currently are at the last image, then the next image would be the first image. Okay. Hence it would be an index of 0. Else if active element index plus offset. This offset can be negative also, and hence when you click on the previous button again and again, then it's going to give a -1. Suppose you can take an example. Active element index -1 plus offset, sorry, active element is suppose 0 and offset is -1, then it becomes -1, and since -1 is less than 0, we would like to show the last image. And hence active element index equal to default config dot data dot length -1. Else will be a default scenario where you would like the active element index to be equal to active element index plus offset. And hence, whenever you click on it, any image, you would like to basically have the class list added to that index. Image elements, active element index, class list, dot active. Let me show it to you to the debugger. As you can see, the first element has the active. I click on it, it removed from the first, and then the second got added. Similarly, this active, active. When I click on last, it came to the first element. And hence, if I click on the previous button, and it is going to go me strap for the last image, as you can see here. Okay, this was done for the swap images. Now we need to have the timeout as well as the left to right. Okay, so for that, what we'll write is like we'll create a function called function autoplay, and we need to decide where the image has to go. So we need again an offset. We can reuse the swap images logic here. We just need an offset. So using the left to right, we true false, it's a boolean value. We can decide where the images should go in which direction. So we can write like this: let auto play offset. First of all, we'll not be assigning it. We'll be declaring it so that it can be used in other functions. In here, suppose after declaring this, let autoplay offset equal to what? We can write default config dot left to right. If it's left to right, then it's true, and if it's true, the offset would be 1. Otherwise, it's going to be -1. So now we need to come here in the function autoplay. We need to write set timeout. It's going to again call the autoplay function, and the timeout will be based on the whatever we get from the user or otherwise the defaults. Set timeout autoplay, and we need to call swap images with the autoplay offset, and we need to first time call it in the autoplay here. As you can see, it's working fine, I guess. Let me show you here. Left to right is there, so it's going to go top to bottom. You can see in our case. Now suppose if I make it right to left, otherwise I can give it false. As you can see, it's going from bottom to top. I think that was it, I guess. And you could have used request animation frame here also instead of set timeout. It would be more better, but I want to keep it somewhat simple here. Okay. So I think this was it for this video. I think I've not missed anything else. So if you're interested to watch our other videos, I would say to check the whole series. It has a lot more interview questions on front-end machine coding. And that's it.